See if it worked this time. Surely I wouldn't fail to start a stream twice. We'll find out. Alright. Let me just double check that I'm even live. I don't have a chat pulled up. Yep, I'm live. It's showing on my phone, but not on the computer. Splendid. Alright. There we go. There we go. WYAP stream. Hey, I recognize your username, man. What's up? Happy to see you're still around, man. Haven't seen that name in a little while. Where you been, man? So, interesting little tidbit for you guys just tuning in. I accidentally started this stream on the Raven channel first, on accident. I was still signed into the Raven channel on accident, so yeah, I accidentally started the stream on the wrong channel. It's gonna not be good when people get that notification. They'll wake up, check their phones, they're gonna see that a stream titled "Can't Sleep, So I'm Yapping" was done on the official Raven channel. I'm just the world's greatest CEO, you know, running my own company, just a 10 out of 10, really. You know, truly, Raven is just the most professional organization out there. So, well, you aren't the only one. So, man, been studying mostly on my free time and on weekends. I just try to learn C sharp. That's cool, man. C sharp's an interesting choice. I surely wouldn't have picked it. But teach his own. I'll tell you right now, I am craving the fuck out of a Taco Bell grilled cheese burrito, but I can't order it right now, and it hurts my soul. Just woke up an hour ago. What's up, man? Must be in a pretty different time zone than me, unless if you're waking up at 2:22 a.m. What's the deal with Taco Bell? You're the second person tonight I've heard reference it. Dude, Taco Bell's fucking good. What do you want me to tell you, man? Taco Bell's, like, I am actually craving that shit. It's good fast food. Yeah, man. It's See, the thing about Taco Bell is you can either spend like $12 on McDonald's and get a meal that you kind of feel a little suicidal after eating, or you can go to Taco Bell and maybe pay like $14, but you get a good fast food meal that you actually finish eating and you're like, wow, that was good. I found out that the price for I was gonna get something from Jack in the Box just because it was cheap and they're just cheap and shitty. This was like a week ago, and I found out that getting something like 10 times better from Taco Bell was gonna be the exact same price. So I was just like, well, all right, so why not? How many people are here? I'm actually curious about that. YouTube fails to ever properly update the viewer count for me, at least. Let me double check. 5. We got 5 people in here. Hello. So I have an interesting yap point. Okay, so For you guys just tuning in, I've been thinking about something, okay? So, hear me out on this, alright? So, we have the Raven channel now, right? Which is the official Raven, that's for the actual company, the organization, right? And then we have this channel, which is my personal channel. Um, for the longest time, Raven was just, you know, I just posted videos through my channel because why not? Like we weren't big enough at a point where it even justified having its own channel or whatever. That was just unnecessary. Um, that's not the case anymore. And I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna start being a little more. This is gonna sound stupid, but I feel like I'm gonna start. I feel like I want to start being a little. I want to start treating this more like a personal channel. You know, because I feel like I kind of haven't been as much. Like obviously, I talk about. I try to teach cybersecurity stuff and all that stuff too, which I'm gonna keep doing. But also like I want to like put my yap out there beyond just like little tiny live streams like this late at night. I want to actually I hold many opinions and I want to put them out there. Obviously, I'm not going to become like a political commentator or some stupid shit. I'm not I'm not going to start talking about politics or nothing dumb like that, but like for example, and here's a hot take, I hate the cybersecurity community. I just do. I don't like the cybersecurity community at all. If that wasn't already obvious, I don't know how obvious I make that, but I don't like them. If you've ever kind of noticed, I don't know if you guys really have noticed, but I'm pretty disconnected from the rest of the cybersecurity community. Like, I'm not really, I'm kind of just like in my own little corner doing my own thing. That's for a reason. I don't like those people. I actually despise a lot of them. Not all of them. I won't say all of them. There's some people I like, but most of them I don't like them. And I'd like to. I might make a video soon talking a bit about why, you know, or even talking about. I just did like a whole rantish tweet today, sometime. No, technically yesterday. You get what I mean, right? Um, I made a post on Twitter ranting about blockchains and crypto and shit. And basically, the whole summary of the tweet was I was saying, like, I think crypto bros and I think that cryptocurrency in general is pretty dumb. I think it's pretty stupid. And I think the whole culture around it is absolutely retarded. But blockchain as a fundamental technology, because all blockchain is a decentralized ledger. Because, people build digital currencies on top of it or whatever, but blockchain itself as a fundamental technology separate from that, right, I think is actually a very valuable technology. And I don't know, I'd like to talk about that more as well. Because you guys know, I think pretty much everyone here understands I'm not a crypto bro. God damn, when that shit, when those people started latching onto the alternate project and shit, it was cool at first, the donation, them raising money for the project or whatever. Hey, that was pretty damn cool. I was happy about that. I was like, hey guys, thanks. That's really cool. But then they wanted me to pump the fucking crypto and maximum hype. Yeah, keep pushing it, whatever the fuck, right? And I'm like, I mean, we're not trying to build that, obviously, right? It's like we're trying to build a serious networking protocol. We're not trying to just be hype beasts going to the moon, whatever the fuck, right? Like, it's so stupid. And then they get really toxic and shit, and it's like a whole and it's like, man, you know, I don't know. Hey, man, how are you? I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yo, yo, what's up, Ramdoys? I'd love to hear your thoughts concerning that. Yeah, as far as what I was mentioning with the cybersecurity community, I'd love to talk. You see what I'm saying? Like, with my channel right now, I don't really talk enough about my personal opinions on stuff, my personal takes on things as much, I don't think. I do sometimes, but I never really get deep into the weeds of that stuff. I'd like to start doing that more. Um, If you guys are interested in hearing me yap about cybersecurity community and stuff, I'd be willing to. I have a lot to say about that. It's going to be a very controversial video if I do it, though. I'll tell you that. Probably going to make a lot of people upset. Opinions on AI. I mean, what's there really to say about AI, right? I think it's pretty obvious. The reason, okay, I've actually debated making a video talking about AI, but everybody's making a video talking about AI, right? And I try to avoid topics that are just so overly saturated. I think anyone who has half a brain cell and has actually used AI rather than just looking at tech demos and going, wow, um, I think if you've actually tried and actually used AI seriously to try it out and stuff, I think you know that AI is just a tool. It's not some magical thing or whatever the fuck, right? It's not going to do all your work and then jerk you off after. It's not going to it it's a tool, man. A tool among a tool set. You have your you know what I mean? It's a wonderful tool though. Yes, if you use it properly. So many people don't though. So many people try to okay, the best analogy I can give is imagine trying to build a house with nothing but a hammer. Like, or imagine trying to build a house with nothing but like a screwdriver, right? Like using one tool to build a whole house. Do you really think you're going to get that far with just like no? Seriously, you maybe with a hammer could maybe build like some kind of makeshift house thing that technically functions as a house, but it's going to be a pretty shitty house compared to someone who uses a tool set and it's just a tool among other tools, right? Because I mean, I could just take a blunt force object and shove, hit the nails to get them in the wood, or I could use a hammer, which is generally just a bit nicer to hold and stuff, right? It's a bit better of a tool to use. Like, you see what I'm saying? I feel like that analogy works pretty well to get my point across. Like, I, I mean, I think most of you guys know this. I don't vibe code or whatever the fuck, but I use AI sometimes to definitely, like, for example, with Talon, a prime example with Talon is, or actually, it's not even specific to Talon, it's just in general. When I'm writing code, I write pretty impossible to read code. My code is, like, actually spaghetti. It is a total mess. So I write pretty horrible to read code, and then I can be like, hey, can you help me clean this up, right? And I explain it, what I would not want it to touch, what I would not want it to do, but then I'm like, hey, generally, can you clean this up? And sometimes it's ended up, when you try to tell it to clean stuff up, sometimes it ends up deleting parts of it or like oversimplifying parts of it and stuff, which is really annoying. But a couple of times it's been able to kind of clean it up a bit better and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, neat. And other times I can be like, this program, this part of this program or whatever, I think could be optimized better. How would you go about it? And it was like, well, you're already doing a decent job here doing this and this, but I think if you were to switch it to this way and do it, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, how would you approach that? And then it goes, here's like how, and then it, writes the code or whatever, and then it gives you a little review thing. Because every code change that it submits, you get like a little box where it shows everything it did, and then you click approve or deny, and you can like explain what you want it to do or whatever. So you click approve if you think the code looks good, and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty solid. And you read it through and you're like, wow, that is a neat approach, right? Yeah, another thing too, I I tend to write very monolithic code, and what I mean by that is I will accidentally just put everything in one file. Because when I'm writing code, I'm not really thinking about like organizing it and like making little modular, like splitting everything up into different scripts and stuff. So when I'm writing code, I often accidentally put everything in just one script. And when I do that, I'm like, oh shit. And AI has actually turned out, I've noticed, has actually been pretty solid at, if you tell it, hey, like, I've, this is a very monolithic file, I'd like you to split it up and stuff, but I don't let it split it up however it thinks is best. I first think it through and I'm like, well, okay, I would want, the debloat components over here. I'd want them split apart there. I think we could split the UI components here and then split the actual reusable utilities into a utilities thing and have the components rely on the utilities, right? Create a very modular structure. And then I explain that to the AI, and then it has like a, I don't know if how familiar you guys are with the tool, but you do like a planning mode, and when you do the planning mode, it like basically writes up everything it's about to do. It like gives you a whole plan and stuff, and even tells you the assumptions it's making and stuff, and you can read all that over, and you're like, yep, looks good to me, prove it. And it goes through, it does it, you review everything, test it and stuff, and it's like, wow, yeah, it just works. Okay. But I'm not having the LLM actually, like, I'm not just saying make me Talon, hit enter, right? That's fucking stupid. You, if you're using AI in the way that I do, where it's like you're just using it as a tool like that to assist with these kinds of things, I think it is pretty good. But it does get shit wrong, even to this day. The latest frontier models, the best of the best stuff, or whatever that they keep yapping about. This model's gonna be the greatest ever, whoa! And then you actually try it, and it's just like slightly better at something. Like I barely even noticed the difference in the latest GPT release. How far has the alternate project come? Very much so. I feel like I was late to respond to a lot of this stuff because I got really deep into my AI app. Sorry about that. Very far, man. If you haven't already checked, go look through the Raven newsroom. It's on our website. You can read through the posts about alternate, see where it is right now. And we just did the update live stream on the official Raven channel because the second major development milestone completed. That was a couple of days ago. That was like a week or two, right? Whatever. You can go watch that. You'll learn a lot about the state of the project and everything. Well, hearing you say this here, it seems like that most individuals who are sharing anything about a topic... Did I read that right? Well, hearing you say this here, it seems like that most individuals who are sharing anything about a topic, it's always fueling their course or program. Oh, okay. I just didn't finish reading. Yeah. It feels like it has much less to do with the topic. I've noticed that. If I make that video about the cybersecurity community, that'll be part of it. And then you watching a YouTube video trying to hear some allegedly reputable guy's take on cybersecurity or whatever. And then there's always the course ad, the course integration or whatever, right? And it's like, man, man, I really don't want to call out names specifically, but I'm going to call out just one name, one specific name. I used to watch Low Level TV, or Low Level. I think he just rebranded it just Low Level. I used to watch Low Level sometimes because he talks about a lot of vulnerabilities and talks about how they actually work and stuff, and I thought it was pretty valuable content. But like, his content just gets so, like, I don't even know how to explain it. His content's at a point now where it's just low effort, churning out just videos. He reads like 3 articles, turns on the webcam, pumps out a video as quickly as possible, reuses the same 3 YouTuber shock face, whatever, cutouts that he puts on the side, and he publishes it and puts a course ad in the middle of it, right? Like, and it's like, I didn't feel like I was getting that much value out of the content. I did at first, but after a while I was just like, man, I don't know the guy personally, though, obviously, so I can't speak to his character or whatever, but I can't speak to his content and my opinion on his content, and I think that it just got very, it just wasn't that good. Does Raven still have the idea of making a custom Windows shell? Yep. Yes, we do. Except, that idea is halted indefinitely. And what I mean by halted indefinitely can make it sound like we're never going to do it. I still really want to do it, but it's just one of those things where it's like that's really not the priority right now. Like we shelved that idea for now. I mean, hell, if for what it's worth though, what's now endpoint, the endpoint protocol, we shelved that for like we came up with the whole idea back when it was called Dragonet and stuff. We had that whole idea for a couple months and then we shelved it for like a year, but then we came back and actually did it, and now endpoint's going hard, right? So I'm sure we'll get to it eventually, you know what I mean? But there's no promises, I guess. It's just we have bigger fries to fish, you know? I have not, however, paid for anything, so I don't know if there's any greater benefit if I paid into it. See, that's the thing. I see, I've seen so many like developer YouTubers or even cybersecurity YouTubers selling these courses or whatever, where it's basically all the course is it's just shit you can just look up or figure out yourself if you just were willing to actually go look. You're paying for the fact that they spent like a few hours of their day to actually like compile that stuff and put it into one place for you, which pretty much, if you're that lazy, you might as well use AI to do that for you, right? So I don't know. I'm not a fan of those like courses. I saw one dude selling like a Git course, like intro to Git, like how to use Git, and I was like, man, if my retarded ass can figure out Git, and after using it for like a little while, you know how I figured out Git? I literally just started using it. And after a couple months, I feel like I pretty much got the hang of it, right? There's not much to it. Like how are you gonna sell an entire course over how to use Git, right? Like if you want to learn how to use Git, just use it. um, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a fan of those like influencer courses or whatever that you can get, because they're always just usually. I would say about 99% of the time they're just like, I googled stuff and wrote it down for you, so that you didn't have to Google the stuff yourself. But hey, to be fair, I've never bought the courses, so what would I know? What language models do you typically use? I don't know how hot of a take this is for the AI bros, but I use the Chat GPT models. So, I mean, for what I use them for, they get the job done. You know what I mean? Like, I know I've heard so many developers or whatever say, oh my god, Claude is the best or whatever, and I just don't give a shit, man. I pay $20 a month, is it? I think, yeah, like $20 a month, and I just get an AI model that just gets the job done, right? And again, I'm not using AI to do my work for me. I'm just using it as a tool to assist with my work. So, I mean, it's been working fine for that, right? It's been serving its purpose, so I have no complaints. I don't know. Can you really say that one model is the best model, though, to be fair? I guess it would depend on what you're specifically looking for in a model, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm no AI expert, but um, when people say that an AI model is the best, what are they referring to? For like full-on vibe coding, or for like using it as a tool like I'm talking about, or what? Because you know what I mean? Like, I feel like an AI model could be really good at one, for one purpose, but then not so good for the other, while the other one's better for that purpose. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just never like the idea of, I honestly, I truly believe that there's no such thing as one size fits all. I truly believe that there isn't just one single best thing of anything. There's no one singular best, literally anything. At least in the world of software and stuff like that. So, you just, when I hear people say, this is the best AI model ever, I'm just kind of like, okay, man. All right. Do you know what it probably is, actually? Now that I think about it, those people are probably like those vibe coding people or whatever have probably spent so much money, like several tens of thousands of dollars or whatever, dumping it into tokens. What do they call it? Token maxing. Yeah, token maxing. So They just feel inclined to like fight for their model because they're already so knee deep in the in using it and being so financially like invested in it. Holy shit. Yeah, the vibe coding people have spent so much on tokens, it's insane. I think I heard Uber or something spent like millions on them. Man, okay. What the fuck could Uber possibly be building? Okay. Like, okay. Let's be realistic. Uber, the basically the modern version of taxis. You call you type in an address, someone comes picks you up, they drive you to the place, you pay. So you can also order food. Like what the fuck else? What could you possibly be spending millions of dollars of tokens on? Like genuinely, what the fuck could you be doing? They tried replacing employees with AI. How the fuck can you replace employees with AI? You're fucking Uber. You're 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 talking about like some full self-driving type shit? Like how the fuck do you replace all your employees if you're a company that's entirely about like driving people places? I don't fucking get it. You know what it is? You know what it really is? Companies are petrified of just doing one thing. Modern tech companies are mortified of just doing one thing and doing it well. There's no such thing as a company just doing one thing, making one product, right? Like having one product that serves one good purpose and does it really well, and that's that, right? The companies can't do that anymore. They have to be the everything app that does everything. Uber lets you order food, it lets you deliver packages, it lets you, go whatever, right? And soon enough they're gonna have like a fucking their own airline or some shit, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's companies are so uncomfortable just doing, like, sometimes you gotta just sit back and be like, yeah, we have one product that does one really good thing and people are happy with it, right? Like, we're making money, stable money, right? Like, you can't just be comfortable with that. You can't just be content with that. The quarterly reports have to show the big line, the big number going up. Like, let me give you an example. Talon, for example. Talon serves one purpose. It does one thing and it does it well. And that's it. Redact does one thing and it does it well. Endpoint's doing one thing and does it well. You see what I'm saying? Like, Raven obviously does a ton of different shit, but all of our products, all of our services and everything do one thing and do it well. Yeah. Because in my opinion, at least, that's how it should be. It was like $500 million. Holy fuck. No, the IT employees. What IT employees do you need for Uber, man? You need like a couple of you need just like a room of 3 or 4 competent engineers, and like for Uber, you could totally get away with just having a small IT team and a security team, right? And that's like your entire IT sector. Obviously, not including customer support, and yeah, customer support's a different thing, and obviously the legal is a different thing, and all that other stuff. I'm talking specifically like IT, like running and maintaining the servers and building the product and stuff. You really need like 3 or 4 engineers focused on the actual like app development side or whatever, the actual like probably probably 3 or 4 engineers on like the app development side, everything like that. As for like general IT running the servers and everything, you maybe need like 3 or 4 people, and then right, like, and then a security team of like 3 or 4 people. Like, you really, that's all you need for like a company of that size. I think anything more than that is just kind of inflating it. But I hate the idea of an everything app. I love to have my various apps come from different sources because that's just healthier. It's just healthier when having everything controlled by one central platform, one central account, one central whatever is just a stupid concept in itself. In itself, right? That's just dumb. That's just dumb. That is plain old stupid. Hello, not Pana. I have absolutely no clue why they would need so many IT employees. Me neither, dude. Why? Like, genuinely, why the fuck would you? You really don't. And that's the only real answer. You really don't. Isn't an everything app basically an OS? Eh, not really. Sort of, I guess. Not really. I don't know. I mean, at this rate, it might as well be. That's what every app is trying to fucking be nowadays. I mean, if you're gonna ask, isn't everything app basically an OS? I mean, is Google an OS then? Like, you have one Google account and then you have Google Maps, Google Wallet, Google Password Manager, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Excel, or whatever. God damn, the indigestion's kicking my ass. You have Google Reviews, Google Finance, Google fucking everything, right? How long has this stream been going? 30 minutes. Everything apps are fucking dumb, though. I think that tools should serve. I think that tools need a problem to solve. They need to exist for a reason. They need a purpose, right? First off, step one, your tool needs a purpose. It needs like a reason to exist. It needs a justification. That tool should solve that one problem. It should do that one thing and do it well, and that's it, right? I think that if you're gonna have, if you're gonna try to do something else, if you're gonna try to do a tool that, does something else or whatever, instead of, just putting it in the tool that's already there, I would recommend just doing a different tool, just a separate tool. You can have like an ecosystem of tools, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's having an ecosystem of tools like that is different from having a single app that tries to do everything, right? Now they're trying to combine the everything app with an everything AI. Everything has an AI now, and I really don't like it much. Yeah. Yep. 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 Man, this AI shit is what Meta was thinking the metaverse was gonna be, and then it really wasn't. This is what Meta thought the this is what Meta thought the metaverse was gonna be like. Man, the whole AI integrating into everything is so stupid because there's so many applications where AI doesn't make any sense to be there. You know how, okay. Do you know how many websites or like services or whatever I was already using before the AI boom that worked the exact same way that they work now? They do the exact same things in the exact same way, except before they just said they were a tool. Now they say they're an AI tool. And the biggest perpetrator of this, let me actually show you guys this. There's a service called remove.bg. Remove.bg is this website that basically you just upload a image and it removes the background. But now they say it's an AI background remover. It wasn't like that before. Or actually they kind of their website used to be a lot more heavier in the whole AI wording. They kind of toned down the AI language on their website. I remember it had a lot more than this. But their website used to go like, I guess it still does. I mean, I'm not bothering gonna go look all the way, but it literally would say like, "Oh my God, it's AI powered background removal, all this stuff." When literally a month ago, it was just doing the exact same thing, and it wasn't AI, right? AI for the sake of AI is so annoying. Exactly, man. It's so stupid. Like, YouTube in the search bar now has like an Ask YouTube thing or whatever. Have you guys seen that? Why the fuck does that need to exist? I'm not asking YouTube anything. If I'm gonna search something, I want to search something. I don't want to ask the AI where it searches for me or something and gives me summaries or whatever. I don't. It's delusional, is what it is. If I'm searching something on AI, I'm trying to find. What I'm most likely trying to do is find a specific video, and I'm not interested in asking your fucking poorly made Bard AI or whatever it's called now, Gemini. It's Gemini now. But like, come on. Very interested in what these latest AI models are capable of. I recently stepped down from my role as a lead programmer on a video game, and I've watched them completely shift to using AI for all. If you're talking about, and somehow it appears to have been working well for them, but I can only just imagine how spaghetti the code base is now. Dude, I can only imagine how awful that code base must be now. Holy shit. Holy shit. You step down as the lead programmer and they don't have a programmer anymore, and instead of just getting a new one, they're like, oh my God, we're just gonna go all in on AI. I bet that game is, yeah, Jesus. Oh God. Oh man. Looking forward to see how that game turns out. Jesus fucking Christ. The latest AI models, I'll tell you right now, outside of all the marketing and all that stuff, they're nothing special. They're not the singularity. We haven't achieved AGI or whatever the fuck. It's just, it's, man, it's just a fucking tool. Okay, okay. Like, if you guys want to know what an AI really is, it's a next token predictor. Okay? You take a giant. Okay, okay. Have you guys ever, on your phones, have you ever like seen the auto complete thing at the top of the like keyboard? Like you're texting someone and it like has the words that automatically pop up of what it thinks you're trying to say. Well, over time, the more you write texts, that starts to get more and more accurate because it has more and more history of the way you speak and what you say most commonly and stuff. And then as you start typing, it starts to recommend things that you're most likely to say. So it's you're typing in a word and then it's predicting what the rest of the word's going to be, right? Um, Imagine taking basically this technology at a fundamental level and then training it on billions of records of data, like absolute petabytes of data, right? Like so much data, um, and then essentially that's what an AI is, right? Obviously, I'm simplifying, but AI doesn't think technically. AI is not even thinking. It's not. It's not even. It doesn't even know what it's saying. It's just predicting what the next best word is in response to an input. That's all it is, based off its training data and based off the data it has available. That's all it's doing. So, like, that can only go so far, right? That's the part you're never going to hear people say who are like the AI bros or whatever. Technologies can only ever go so far. And this technology can only ever go so far, right? I think people are starting to slowly realize that now, that AI is cool. It's definitely very cool, but it has its limits. LLMs, as a technology, it has its limits. It'll get better over time. I have no doubt about that. Through refining and better resources and everything like that. But it's only ever, maybe you can get it to um, do certain things better if you refine it for certain tasks or whatever. But I mean, I don't think that AI is ever going to replace any serious engineering work. It can't. I don't think it can. Right? I think it's different when you have an actual fundamental understanding of the actual technology, right? I'm not claiming to be no expert in AI or whatever. I'm very much not. But like, I at least understand how. I feel like AI is very much kind of like a black box to a lot of people. It's almost magical. It's easy for it to feel magical when the computer is able to talk back to you, right? And it looks like it's thinking and stuff. But in reality, it's, if you understand how LLM technology actually works, it's like it's not. It really takes a lot of that magic out of it, where it's kind of like, yeah, it's cool, but it's also just a computer. You know what I mean? It's just a computer program. AI has code has improved a bit. It's not pure BS. Yeah, I think you tuned in kind of later, not Pana, but I did mention that even I use AI to assist with my coding, but AI is never going to competent. AI is never going to replace a competent engineer. Okay, like if what you're, if AI can build something that is genuinely like good and it's if you have AI build something that's genuinely good and it's like actually good and stuff, chances are you're not building anything particularly special. Okay? Now that might hurt the feelings of some AI vibe coding bros, but hear me out on this, right? You could ask AI to make you a Windows debloater, make a Talon competitor, a Talon alternative, okay? And it probably can make a debloating program that probably when you run it probably does debloat Windows to a degree. But you can have, it's exactly like my analogy earlier. If you trying to build a house with nothing but a hammer, you could probably build something that resembles a house. You could probably build something that technically functions as a house. But is it going to be a good house? No. Even if it technically functions as a house or whatever, right? Like Talon, it's not just, you're not just like making a Windows debloater. It's you have to think about, okay, well, Talon's technically split into two parts, right? There's the actual runner, and then there's the configuration phase. There's like two phases to Talon, and it's all connected through something called an install plan, which is basically just a glorified configuration file. The first phase of Talon, where you're actually like reviewing the changes and editing it and selecting your browser and stuff like that, is essentially just a glorified UI. You're editing a config file without even really realizing it. It's pretty much the same thing as just opening up and editing a config file in Notepad, except we made a fancy UI for it. And then that's the actual install plan, which is the configuration file, which when you actually click Run Talon, it passes that install plan to the runner, which goes down step by step according to the install plan and just executes according to it, right? So it's fairly simple design. And when you architect it in this particular way, it also allows you to create profiles. That's how we actually implemented profiles now, because instead of just, I'm sure you guys watched, most of you here watched that video, the first ever video I made about Talon, where it did feature like profiles, right? Except the way I implemented it at first was pretty awful. And the fact that we have the install plans now, it's possible hey, it's actually really easy to allow users to export and import install plans if they want to have custom install plans. And then that's actually how we even have the built-in, there's a couple of built-in preset profiles to pick from, right? Of install plans. Those are just install plans, right? So it opened up for that new feature to come in, and the install plan whole setup there also allowed for the review page to even exist. There's a page in Talon now where it actually shows you all the changes it's about to make, and you can review the changes and edit them if you don't want it to remove Edge, but you want it to do everything else, or you don't want it to set your desktop background, but you want it to do everything else. You can, click X on that and get rid of it out of the list, and, it'll execute according to that, right? And I'm kind of getting a little lost in the sauce here, getting too deep into the weeds of Talon and explaining it, the architecture of it. But you get what I mean? I Talon, I actually sat down and I architected something. I actually planned out and mapped out how everything's going to connect together, the different components and how they're going to operate together, and coming up with, you know what I mean? And then I actually implement that idea. And you can even use AI to assist with it, but that's awfully different from having AI just say, hey, make me a Windows debloater, right? Because AI optimizes for satisfying the request. Okay, so if you give it a request saying, hey, make me a Windows debloater, make it very good, no mistakes, make no mistakes, right? You hit enter. AI is going to optimize for making a Windows debloater. Like, it's going to take it literally, is what I mean. It's not, the AI is not going to sit here and actually think things through and architect it and all that stuff. It's just trying to fulfill your request as you requested it, right? So it'll make something that satisfies the request and nothing more. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Am I making sense there? And you can try to vibe code and stuff, and maybe you'll make something half decent. I'm not even saying you won't, but at that point you've spent a bunch of money on tokens or whatever, and AI compute and all this stuff, trying to make something and it literally took that much compute power and all that stuff to make something even just partially comparable to Talon, versus just a competent developer sitting down and actually architecting things out, designing it and implementing it, that is going to be 10 times better, 10 times more stable, and isn't going to be a giant spaghetti code base that's like 120,000 lines of code long, right? If I want to add a new debloat step to Talon, if I want to add a new debloat component, it's just a matter of writing a singular Python script with a main function that that does what it's supposed to do, and then I just write one line of code to hook it up to the main script, and then it just works. Like, it's literally that simple with Talon's current architecture right now, because I designed it to be very modular and very easily expandable, right? AI is not going to do that. You know what I mean? Let me read some of this because I've been getting too into the yap again. I know people have been talking about the AI bubble and all, and I just hope these companies realize that what it actually is and isn't. Okay, I have a problem with the whole AI bubble language. I don't think it's a bubble. Okay, I think that the whole bubble terminology is kind of stupid. You know where it really comes from? It comes from the dot-com bubble, right? Everyone thinks of the dot-com bubble. I think that AI is different. I don't think that it's a bubble, but I do think it's a phase. Because at the end of the day, you know what companies are optimizing for nowadays? Back in the day, companies used to optimize for customer satisfaction, making actually good software, and stuff like that, right? Have you ever wondered why that changed? A lot of people think it's just, oh, well, it's just greed, right? Simply put. What it actually is companies nowadays aren't optimizing for that. They're optimizing for quarterly reports, annual reports. They're optimizing to appease investors, right? Because companies like that are essentially ran by the investors at this point, and when their stock, is soaring through the roof, then everyone's happy, and they just have to keep that number going up, 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 right? So when there's a revolutionary technology, AI, whatever, right, the companies are gonna go all in on that because it shoots their stock price up like crazy, and it appeases the investors, the clapping seals, right? And it's the quarterly reports look great. They're optimizing for short-term rapid growth rather than long-term stable, steady growth that's actually like healthy. Companies aren't optimizing for that anymore because it's not that kind of, you know what I mean? They're not that kind of company anymore. It's also the reason why Raven will never be a public company, by the way. Raven's never going to be a publicly traded company. Nope, never doing that. Have you heard about how some companies that fired almost all the employees and now they're begging them to come back? Yes. Yes, I have seen that, and I think it's fucking hilarious. The whole COVID thing happened, and so many people went remote, and then after COVID was pretty much over, now the companies want all their employees to come back into the office and stuff, and then everyone kind of realized, well, work from home, right, is just better for a lot of people at least, and the companies don't like work from home, they don't like it, uh, and it's kind of I feel like when all these companies are getting into the AI hype train, right? It's just when imagine being a big investor type, right, for like one of these big companies for a second, and there's this quote unquote revolutionary technology that's going around going crazy, right? And it can allegedly, think about what one of the number one cost factors of a big company like that is. It's the employees. It's the man hours put in, right? So if you can cut that down and minimize it with this revolutionary technology that's supposed to be like super intelligence or whatever, and you're like an investor, dude, so you're too high off sniffing your own farts to even like understand the fundamentals of the technology or whatever. You don't know that shit. You only hear what Jensen, what's his nuts, in his latest conference started talking about how AI is the future or whatever. And now you're like, man, then you go to Microsoft or whoever you're invested in, and you're like, hey, do this. I need you to do this. And then if Microsoft says no, then you're upset and you're not going to invest as much, and that's going to hurt them. So then they're like, okay, anything, anything for you, investor, right? It's silly. It's silly. I'm still mad about the RAM prices though. I was out of curiosity looking at how much a 4090 costs, and it was like $1,500. And I looked at how much it is used, and it was like $1,300. And I was like, oh my god. It was like, what the fuck? Man, it is insane. Storage prices are ridiculous too now. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, fellas. I kind of perfectly timed everything with my computer. I kind of bought everything for my computer perfect time because right before everything soared up, I got the last bit of everything to put in my PC. So I got real lucky with that timing. I don't think they're going to go down for at least a year. That's what so many of those people are saying. The real reason why the prices are so high, I think we all know it. The prices definitely have gone up because of AI and the demand and all that stuff, but the prices wouldn't be this high as a result of that. It's definitely as a result of these companies realizing like that they can charge this much for that stuff. So it's just them jacking up the price, right? And and they have an easy fallback because it's like, why is your price so high? Oh, AI, and then people can't really argue with that, right? But come on, do you really think it actually is like going to cost that much? No. Yesterday, I used Talon for the first time. Windows 11 chose LibreWolf just to be able to see behind overlay that chocolatey borked the LibreWolf install with 503 server unavailable. So Talon froze. Had to hit C and restart. Yeah. Yep. Sorry about that, man. The Yeah, chocolaty's kind of. But I mean, what really can we do for browser installation, right? Browser installation is not fun. It really isn't. Chocolate is kind of the best option we got for that, and it's definitely far from perfect. The browser installation part of Talon, I feel like, is there for the people who want it for like convenience or whatever. But I'm not gonna lie, if you ask me, I'd say probably the best thing to do is install the browser you want first and then run Talon. Like actually install the browser that you want yourself and then run Talon and just click the skip browser installation step in Talon. Unless if you're using Brave though, because Talon. Little fun fact for you guys: Talon actually debloats Brave. If you choose Brave as your browser in Talon, it gives you a deep loaded version of Brave that doesn't have the AI or the crypto bullshit or whatever in it. So, little pro tip for you guys there. You're welcome. Bought my 5090 over a year ago for over $3,000. Dude, are you fucking insane? Dude, are you fucking insane? Oh my god. You've oh my god. I know people who have like insane computer setups and they paid only like 2,000 for the entire PC. Holy shit. All good. Would there be a way to elegantly fail instead of freeze? Oh, you're referring to chocolatey still. Um, I mean, I keep trying to. I mean, I'll continue to try to improve the. I'll continue to try to improve on that. It's just really hard to. Um, I haven't. I've tried to improve the um, error handling around chocolatey and stuff, but it's pretty. The chocolate's just kind of hard to work with. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I mean, it's definitely in the upcoming Talon update. I want to try to address that, even, try to improve that better. But can't really promise anything just because chocolatey is just fucking. Have I checked my PC for malware? That amount has been withdrawn from the alternate development fund. I couldn't find a car for it. Oh shit. Oh yeah, you're talking about that. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. We ended up so there's a remaining amount that's like 7,500, I think, which I believe that's how much is left at least, which is devoted obviously to Pascal for the remaining amount for his milestones. But then the rest of the money we put in actual cash because cash is significantly better to work with, in my opinion. Me and Pascal talked about this, and he believes that he likes crypto. I don't, and I think that crypto is a lot harder to work with, especially when it comes to actually trying to pay for anything, right? So, like, for example, we got to get when alternate gets to a stage of a POC and everything, we want to pay for a security audit of the actual protocol, right? So imagine trying to pay for that through crypto, right? I feel like crypto is obnoxious to deal with. I was trying to pay Pascal for the latest milestone because we did just complete the second major development milestone, and it was $500. So he was supposed to get paid 500, and it literally I had to actually like install a whole new wallet like thing or whatever because the one I was using literally just wouldn't work. I had the right amount of whatever the fuck to send him the money and stuff for the fees or whatever. Everything was fine, but it just wouldn't fucking work. So then I had to go out of my way, do that, and I had to link up all my shit again, and it was so fucking obnoxious. Like, crypto is obnoxious to work with, man. So if I can just have it in, like, cash is just so much less of a headache, right? Because I can put it into the savings account and just leave it, and it's just like it. If I need to pay someone, I can just pay them in cash, right? It's just so much less tedious and annoying. But I do understand your concern because I don't think I've talked about it too much publicly yet. I don't think I actually got around to announcing any. Actually, I know why I haven't. Okay, it's not that I haven't gotten around to announcing it. I know why I haven't announced it. It's because I truly believe that nobody really gives a fuck what medium that the money's in. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like is the big reason why I've been keeping the money in crypto form or whatever. I converted it to USDC, which is like a stable coin, so it doesn't fluctuate in price like crazy or whatever. It's relatively always equivalent to just $1, so it's stable. Um, the reason why I even had it in crypto was for the transparency benefits, right? Because with crypto, you have blockchain, right? And with blockchain, you can actually see, there's like records. You can actually see things and stuff. There's transparency there. But genuinely, I don't, I just feel like the pros of just like having it in cash where it's just simpler, it's just sitting there versus the cons of, I just feel like I genuinely feel like, I like seeing all the transactions exactly, and that was the big reason why we kept it in crypto for so long. But also, crypto just fucking sucks, right? And also because it created so much confusion with like, well, is alternate a crypto project? Is Raven like, is this a crypto project? Is this a crypto scam or whatever? And we were like, we had to sit there and constantly explain like, no, we're not. But the confusion was understandable because we're sitting here with a bunch of crypto, right? So it's like, and then we're talking about decentralized, whatever, and you get what I'm saying? So it's like, but no, I honestly, I feel like the transparency benefits of the blockchain or whatever versus just, it just didn't seem very worth it. Most of our community doesn't even give that much of a shit about like I don't think pretty much anyone in our community really, maybe there's a couple like you who actually like looking at the transactions, but I think that most of our audience isn't sitting there actually like staring at the blockchain, like watching our transactions or whatever, because I just think most people don't give a fuck. Most people just care about the project succeeding and doing well and stuff, right? I feel like most people just care about the money going towards the betterment of the project and towards, making this project better and everything, which it will. So, and again, the best thing I can try to do is just try to be as transparent as I can financially about, where that money's going and everything. When it's in cash, the ultimate summary, when it's in cash, it just gives a lot more freedom to actually use the money versus like having it sitting in that wallet, right? And crypto is just so obnoxious to deal with. When it's in cash, it's just much easier to actually use the money. And again, I really don't feel like anyone really gives a fuck. So we didn't make any kind of big announcement about it or whatever because we were like, is that even necessary? You know what I mean? My fucking ass hurts. Speaking of which, by the way, the original community authorization request, the things that are remaining for it, if I remember correctly, we still need to get a licensed attorney to do contract review and like review the company stuff and all that. We're actually in a position now where we're pretty much at a point where we can do that. So it's like that original community authorization request actually is pretty close to being done now, finally, right? I was hoping that community authorization request would have been done so much longer ago, but didn't exactly prepare for being kicked out and all this other stuff, so took us much longer than I hoped, but we're here now. I'm gonna actually, I need to talk to, I got a couple recommendations from, my grandpa gave me some recommendations, and he knows a guy and referred me, and also I've been getting recommendations, stuff from other people and stuff, so I need to do some talking, make some phone calls and stuff, shoot some emails, but trying to find a licensed attorney that's not going to cost an arm and a leg just to do some basic contract review. He's just going to read over everything, make sure it's all good and kosher, right? Which I believe is the last part of the most recent community authorization, or not the most recent one, but the first one. I mean, I was thinking about asking you earlier, but I was worried you might ban me. Oh, why? Why would I ban you, man? I mean, it's pretty straight. It's pretty on. Like, I was kind of I mean, yeah, that's like a very straightforward question, you know? That's a very understandable question to be asking too. Because yeah, we didn't make any like public statement about that. So it was bound for someone to ask that question, right? And it's an understandable question to ask. Like we hadn't really mentioned that publicly because we didn't think anyone really gave a shit. Um, but I mean, yeah, it's a perfectly fine question to ask, man. You guys want to be let in on something? You guys want to see some sneak peek behind the scenes stuff? Get a little early preview of something that I've been working on. I got one yes. Uh, got one yes. I'm just pulling on you guys. Like, by the way, I'm not actually gonna wait for you guys to say. I'll say yes. Um, sure, mate. Yeah. So I mean, I think I've explained this a million times. I'm like a broken record, but you guys already know, I'm sure, that, you know, the reason why alternate isn't at a point to have a spec yet is because it's still obviously early in the development of the initial POC and stuff. Um, alternate, we're trying to get alternate where endpoint is right now. If you go look at endpoint right now, we have a working POC, proof of concept code implementation. We have a working proof of concept. We have a working demo that you can actually like run on your computer pretty easily and actually try out endpoint and watch it work, and it like actually works and shit. And we have the README, which is kind of like it's not a spec, but it's kind of like a junior spec. It's like spec mini, right? It works as kind of a pseudo. It's basically just explains how the architecture works and stuff. It doesn't go into like exact implementation stuff, but it at least like explains how it works. It does enough for for the phase of the project it's in right now, right? But Endpoint's at a stage right now where, you know, we released the first initial version, then we added multi-recipient communications and improvements and stuff in that regard. We added contact artifacts and whatnot, and actually just today I pushed a latest change which actually improves the fingerprint derivation. How do you say that? Derivativation. I don't know how the fuck you'd say that. Algorithm to. I know the word I'm thinking of. I just don't know how to pronounce it. I'm kind of stupid. Um, improving that algorithm so that it's actually consistent across different, because right now it was very reliant on Sequoia's way of doing things. I'm getting way too deep into the weeds of shit. But anyways, Endpoint is now at the stage where it's actually ready to start having its specification written. So I've been working on a spec. I've been working on a actual specification document, a proper one. Like an actual one that's, you know, I've never written a spec before. So this is a first for me actually writing. Well, I have written a spec before. I wrote the alternate spec, but I'm not even considering that like a proper spec because that was basically like, it was called a spec, but it was basically like a rough outline of an idea, right? Concepts of a plan. I have concepts of a plan, right? But it was very much just like kind of just rough outlining shit. So I wouldn't even necessarily call that like a full proper spec, but this is an actual full proper spec. So this diagram, I'm sure anyone who's seen the endpoint repo has seen this diagram already before. Um, it's just that same diagram essentially. And this is just explaining kind of the basic architecture, right? It's just an overview of the architecture. The actual implementation stuff is when you kind of get down here and it talks about how clients must establish trust, and it's actually giving specific implementation details and stuff, right? If you're wondering how I've been writing this, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've been looking at other specs or like other protocols and stuff and kind of copying what they do. And then just kind of copying what they do but doing it for endpoint. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to writing specs. But there's only 11 pages written so far, and the farthest I've gone so far is just into explaining identities and routes. But it's a work in progress. I actually am going to bump those sections down. Currently it's section 3 and 4. 3 is routes and 4 is identities. I'm actually going to bump them down to 4 and 5 and then have section 3 be about serialization, because it mentions a couple times throughout, even the README and also in the specification it talks about canonical JSON. But whenever we talk about canonical JSON, it's like, okay, well, what's the actual serialization, right? What do you actually how are you actually normalizing stuff, right? So I'm going to do a dedicated, I don't know if you want to call them chapters or whatever, but I call them sections, a dedicated section for serialization talking about that, and then I'll just go back and have everything, where it talks about that stuff, have it reference that section. If I made endpoint, it wouldn't use canonical JSON. Okay, man. Alright. Endpoint uses JSON for things like public identity documents, right? It uses JSON for stuff like this. And if you actually go to the GitHub, let me go to endpoint. And we actually scroll down to, nope, we actually scroll down to message structure, right? So it uses JSON for a lot of this stuff. I mean, if you were writing it, you wouldn't have it use JSON. I mean, hey man, to each his own, but JSON's human readable. It's easy to understand and use and write. I mean, I thought it was just the right route to go for what endpoint is. What do you think about privacy-first companies like Proton? I have a lot to say about them. I think Proton, in particular, is a pretty solid company. I think they're pretty good. I don't think they're perfect, though. I have some quarrels with certain parts about them. Some things about it, but I don't think they're bad. I think Proton's pretty good. I think Molvad's also a pretty cool company. I think they make pretty good stuff. I like them. I don't even think we need to talk about Mozilla, but whatever the fuck Mozilla's doing, we aren't even, that's just not even a part of the conversation. Alright, so which one to use, GNOME or KDE? Which one is better? Discuss this if you want, I don't care. That's such like a passive-aggressive way to like bring up a topic. I'm honestly more of a cinnamon guy myself. I've found myself liking cinnamon better, actually. But if I had to pick specifically GNOME or KDE, it's KDE all day long, because GNOME is like a shitty like kids tablet OS, like some cheap Chinese kids tablet interface, while KDE is like actually a desktop interface. My big issue with KDE Plasma, though, has been that it's not very stable at all. KDE Plasma is not stable in the slightest. Looks pretty good, though. Heavily customizable, too. GNOME is mostly for tablet PCs and touchscreens. Yeah, it's obvious. It feels like it. It feels like the most just awful interface you could possibly put on a computer, honestly. I would rather go back. I would be more productive in MS-DOS. I would actually much rather just be in my whole. I don't even have Windows. I don't even have a desktop. It's just a terminal. But yeah, we're getting the actual specification written for Endpoint, which I'm very happy about. And when I get the specification finished, I'm hoping to try to find somebody who can kind of just peer read it, right? Peer review it or some shit. What I might actually do is I might actually pay a developer where I just hand them the specification and I go, hey, make an implementation based off the spec, right? And just see if they can do it. Because I feel like that's honestly probably one of the best tests I can put towards a spec. Because a spec should be a document where you can hand it to a developer, and going off the spec, that developer can make a fully working, valid implementation of the protocol, right? If they can't do that off the spec, then you fundamentally failed as a spec, right? So if I hand the spec off to a dev and I go, hey, try to implement this, and then they have to come ask me a question like clarification on a certain point or whatever, then I know that that point needs improvement, right? I know that that point needs to be better. So I do need to get some like proper review on the spec after I finish writing it, because I'm almost positive the first iteration of it, when it's finished, it's going to be pretty. There's going to probably be a lot of problems with it, but then I can just go through and make revisions. And when it gets solid enough, then that's when you can try to put it through some standards committees, try to submit it through some standards bodies, organizations, whatever you call them, and have them, kind of start going through that process. Have you ever heard about people running their spec through an LLM to get it standardized to STE? What? What? No, I have not. Simple technical English. What do you mean? Like, basically like a baby version of the spec, like baby's first spec, where it kind of just goes from being an actual spec into being like a simplified spec that's AI generated. I mean, I bet if you did that, it would probably serve as decent documentation for anyone wanting to learn about the protocol. But trying to actually use that LLM generated version as a spec probably wouldn't go very well. I wouldn't imagine that AI is very good at writing specs. No, STE is simple technical English used in industries for unambiguity and safety. Oh. Are you talking about RFC? I forget the exact RFC it is. Are you talking about RFC 2119 and 8174? Where it's like, must not, required, shall not, should, all that other stuff? Is this what you're talking about? Is that what it's called? Simple technical English? I've never heard of it being called that before. If that's what you're referring to, then using AI for that, I don't know exactly how good it would be at that. I can't imagine it would be the best at that. I bet it'd probably be alright. Very similar, but used in aerospace engineering, etc. Okay, so that's probably the difference. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that then. Simple technical English. I want to look that up real quick. My webcam's going to go very dark, but... Simple technical English. Is there any way for me to actually look at this? Is there any examples I can read? Controlled natural language, blah blah blah. Yeah, European Association of Aerospace Industries. This is most definitely why I've never heard of this before. Um, because this is not anything to do with software development. Writing rules. Okay, so there's like actual rules and then there's like a dictionary. Okay. Write one instruction per sentence. Write only one topic per paragraph. I mean, that's just generally good advice. Wouldn't trust the LLM converting stuff to ST if I'm being honest. Yeah, after knowing a bit more about what STE is and what it's used in, like the industry and what it's used for, I wouldn't either. I would not either. If it's something that sensitive, you shouldn't use AI for it. And I'll tell you right now, that spec that I just showed you guys for the endpoint protocol, here's an example of AI being used in a good way, it being used as an actual tool, right? I wrote that spec myself, but the AI was able to point out, because with a spec, you want to make things as explicit as possible in terms of like implementation details. If you don't want to leave anything up for being implicit or like ambiguous. So when I'm writing about routes or I'm writing about identity, public identity documents, or just identity in general and fingerprints and stuff. For example, I was trying to write about identity and stuff, and oh Jesus Christ, when it came to derivation, see, this is the word I was trying to say earlier, but I couldn't pronounce. When it came to this, I wrote a section of this. I wrote a paragraph for this or two, and that was it. And that paragraph basically said something along the lines of like, it has to be derived from the OpenPGP fingerprint or whatever, right? And then I just left it at that. But I didn't say how it needs to be derived. So then when I had an AI look over this subsection and it was like, hey, you said that it needs to be derived in this way or whatever, but you didn't say how to derive it. And then it recommended that I make like an actual list, like actually lay out the procedure for that. And I was like, shit, it's making a really good point. And so then I actually did it. You see what I mean? Like it has been helpful in that way. Because you see, when it comes to writing a spec, I know everything. Or I don't know everything about, and I off the top of my head, I'm not saying I'm not trying to claim that I know everything about endpoint just off the top of my head, but I know pretty much everything about endpoint just going off the top of my head. So when I'm writing the spec, I kind of forget that other people don't know that either. So there's certain small details about the implementation or whatever that I'm kind of just, because I know it and I'm not really thinking about it, right? And then I forget to really specify that. And then it's like, yeah, what when you say derivation, like how? And I'm like, yeah, actually good point. you know. Yeah, writing specs is not easy. I hate it, but it's a necessary evil. Again, I would like to, after get the spec written, I would either like to get it peer reviewed or have pay a developer to actually like um, try to make an actual implementation, or both, based off the spec, right? And after I'm confident in it being solid enough, I want to start getting it pushed through a couple of standards organizations or committees or bodies or whatever you call them, and have them, try to go through that process. Get it more formalized, if you will. The IETF, I think, is what they're called. Probably would submit it through those guys. Um, I don't know fully on that regard yet, though. I haven't done enough research on that. But once I got the spec, then people can start making their own endpoint implementations once the spec is written, right? So when the spec is written, then whatever happens, at least we'll publish the spec so people can start actually making endpoint implementations. Endpoints, I believe, pretty close to a point where we're comfortable taking it out of non-production ready or whatever, right? Um, Although, again, I would want to get it kind of reviewed and everything first before we really do that. But Endpoint's been coming along nicely, man. It's been coming along well. I'm happy with how well it's been going. Night and day difference with the start of the alternate project, I'll tell you that. We learned a lot. Alternate would have the start of alternate would have been so much better if we had started it out the same way we started out the endpoint project. But hindsight's what do they say? Hindsight's 2020 or whatever. Um, Basically, I'm just saying that you know, we learn from our mistakes, right? The way that the start of the alternate project was atrocious. No one to blame but myself for that, but doing things better now, right? I think that's the part that ultimately matters. I'd rather fuck up a million times at the start and then finally start getting things right later, you know what I mean? Than to just continuously just go down that road of, mistake after mistake and just fumbling, you know what I mean? So at least alternate's actually coming along now. It's actually, we're making good progress with it. It's just such a bigger project. It just takes so much more time. And also, I'm not the one, with Endpoint, I'm the one actually making Endpoint. Pascal's the lead developer of alternate, so he's actually writing the POC right now and stuff. So it's different for me as well, because I'm like, this is the first time I've ever like not been making the thing that I'm running, right? So it's an interesting alternate's a new experience for me too, right? Like it's like, wow. I mean, to be in my defense, I've never tried to build a new web before. But still learning as I go. That was the whole point I'm making with all that yap I just spilled. Again, like with having someone else kind of leading the project's like development side, at least for now, and me being like the project lead, I'm not used to that kind of structure, at least yet. I wonder how many people in this stream have just been listening to my ramblings to like fall asleep to. Just like they have the stream on in just the background. All part of life experience, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's if I were going back in time and obviously starting over with launching the alternate project, there is a ton I would have done differently now, but I mean, I don't necessarily regret any of it either, though, because I would have never learned, right, to how to do things better if I hadn't fucked up the first time, right? I think that because I mean all those even the fuck ups and stuff were along the road that leads to where we are now. So it's like, you know what I mean? If I wished that, I hadn't made those mistakes in the first place or whatever, then we wouldn't be here. Would we be in a better spot? Probably, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit there and mope about, the mistakes or whatever. It's like, we're just we're going along. We're doing this as we go. You know what I mean? God, I am noticeably rambling now. Holy shit. It is almost 4 a.m. I literally heard um, someone wake up and go to work. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I literally heard someone downstairs, like, getting up and preparing and going to work. Like, oh my god. Do you do any gaming in your free time? Well, I don't have much free time, and when I do, it's spent doing things like writing the spec, the endpoint spec, or like other shit. Um, Because if I'm not working my actual job, then I'm working on Raven stuff, and pretty much I spend almost all my free time working on Raven stuff. But there is occasional times where I'll have like maybe an hour or whatever, right? Because you got to take breaks. Even I got to take breaks. So like when I'm writing the spec, I'll write the spec for a few hours, and then I really just need a break from like all the writing and shit because my hands start hurting really bad, right? I already fucked up my wrists enough as it is. So um, when I really just kind of need a break from that shit, I'll either do two things. One, I'll just put on YouTube and sit there and eat something, right? Like I've started trying to not, because something I do is I'm getting so invested in my work and shit, right? Like I'm really zoned into my work where I notice that I'm really hungry, so I'll just like get some quick food or whatever, and I'll be working and eating at the same time. And I think that working and eating at the same time isn't very healthy, like even just mentally and everything. So I've been trying to force myself to not work and eat at the same time, unless if it's like just minor snacking. But I'm talking like actual meals. Like I want to try to force myself to not just eat meals at my desk while working. So I have started trying to like allocate break time to actually eat. You know what I mean? Even if I really feel like I don't want to, I try to force myself to. So I'll either spend that time, I'll either put on a YouTube video, some, a longer YouTube video or whatever, and I'll be sitting there eating my food, watching, just laid back watching the video. Or if I'm not doing that, sometimes I'll play a game. Um, I very much like, I'm a big fan of Helldivers. I very much like Helldivers, very good game. My friend bought me it, so I've been playing the shit out of Helldivers too. Um, Whenever I have those little bits of time, right? Like I'll do a mission or two, and then I'm like, yeah, that was fun, and then I go back to work, right? But um, and also on Sundays, I've been trying to force myself to not work on Sundays, um, except for some exceptions, of course. But generally speaking, I try not to really do much work on Sundays. So on Sundays, it's a different story. Oh Jesus, I'll actually have time to play a couple games or whatever. So I'll play. I have my little list pulled up here. I've been playing Cyberpunk because I got Cyberpunk on an insane sale, summer sale. It was super cheap, so I grabbed Cyberpunk. I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk. Um, I got Sekiro Shadows Die Twice because it was also on a major sale, so I've been playing the shit out of that. And Helldivers 2, Cyberpunk, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice have kind of been the three games I've been playing mostly when I do play games, right? But every now and again I'll have a little spur of a little mini phase where I'll want to play Minecraft, so I'll play Minecraft for a little bit, right? I have my own little world. I just hop on from time to time. It's 12 a.m. my time here from Greece. You're living in Greece, man? That's fucking cool. Heard Greece is a beautiful place. One time, my friend traveled to Greece and he showed me photos. It's fucking beautiful, man. I want to go to Greece someday. 4 a.m. People are making dinner and getting kids to bed down here. Don't step in my time zone by mistake. Remember your sleep. Yeah, I started the stream just because I can't fucking sleep, man. Um, I think I've talked about this before. I don't know if you guys were there for that. I have something called somnophobia. It's similar to insomnia, but not exactly. So um, insomnia is like where you can't. I guess it's like the fear of sleep, right? It's not necessarily fear, but like you can't sleep, right? Somnophobia is the fear of falling asleep. So the actual process of falling asleep is the part that's the problem. Actually sleeping, I love sleep, but falling asleep, I hate it. Um, I struggle with that a lot. So sometimes I just can't get myself to fall asleep. I literally like it's kind of a problem. So instead, I like keep myself up to avoid having to fall asleep, right? And when I get into that stage, it's like, man, fuck it, just go live, right? Other side of the planet. Hell yeah, man. I have a Raven has such a large population of it's Brazil, India, and what's that other place? Fuck. If I pulled up the stats, I would know it. Anyways, there's so many countries that are like honestly, some of the largest chunks of our my audience even is like people on the complete other side of the world, and I just find that crazy. Like it's just cool to think about, you know. In most islands, it's beautiful here where I live. They're trash, not city level trash, but some trash. Only the places that people visit are clean. I struggled to comprehend what I just read there for a second. I'm assuming what you're saying is you live on the islands and um, there's trash in some parts. Sorry, I'm now pulling this up on my phone. I want to read some of the analytics real quick. Audience, geography. There we go. And I'll set this to just. I have a very large German audience, um, and then India is the next biggest in that regard, and then Brazil, and then Poland. Poland was the other one I was thinking of, um, and the Philippines and the Netherlands. So very large chunks of my audience are, you know, you would normally think U.S., Canada, whatever, right? And they're obviously up in that list too, but very like literally the third most popular like country for my audience is Germany, and then it's followed by Brazil, and you know, I don't know. I just think that's kind of cool. Oh shit! I am fucking fading, bro. Oh my god. You can also tell I've been too lazy to shave. I got like the fucking little 5 o'clock shadow going on. You know, I need a fucking haircut though. I haven't had a haircut in so long. My hair is legitimately down to my neck. It is down to the bottom of my neck. I really need a fucking haircut. Oof. Good news, I'll be hopefully increasing my hours soon with the job I'm at right now. So I'll be making more money, doing more work. My financial situation as of right now, I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if you guys were there for that, but my financial situation as of right now is actually like pretty solid. Like not, I don't know if solid's the best word. Stable is the best word to use, because I'm not exactly flowing in money right now, but I it's stable. You know what I mean? Which is better than I can say for a couple months ago. Like it's actually like um, where I'm living right now, where I'm staying. I can be here till the end of the year. I have until the end of the year to be here, and I have the company I'm working for right now, making solid money, getting decent hours, right? So all things considered, not too bad there. I had to move twice within the span of like, what was it, 2, 3 months? But things are chilling out now. So I need to call the. I got referred to this auto tech shop. I need to call soon and talk to the guy and get a referral to a local used car dealership. See what he thinks is like, get a recommendation for like a good one. And then I'm gonna go down and actually look at some cars. I'm gonna bring someone with me who knows their shit about cars and will help me look. And then I'll be buying a car soon. Then when I get a car, I need to do some more practice driving and stuff, and then I'll get my license, and then I'll finally be able to drive. And if you guys remember, the Flock documentary that we're doing still happening, and that documentary is coming along soon. And as soon as I'm able to actually drive, because the biggest issue with the documentary has been transportation by far. So when I get the my whole situation there sorted, where I actually can drive, I have a vehicle, right? Got my cameraman with me, and we'll be going and actually, filming for the documentary. And I already have an editor, so be talking to him and stuff, getting documentary actually put together. I'm already planning to have just like a whole. I'm just gonna spend like an entire week. I'm gonna like devote a whole week to just the documentary, like pretty much entirely, like almost entirely. So it is 4 a.m. boys. Officially, it just hit 4 a.m. and I've been streaming for an hour 40. God damn. Ooh. Fuck. Ooh. I might. I'm not gonna lie, fellas. I might be at the point where I might be able to. I might call it here. It's 11 a.m. for you? Holy shit. These time zones are crazy, man. Okay. This might sound, I don't know how bad this will sound, so let's keep it between us. You and I. Let's keep it between us in this stream here. Um, One of the reasons why I like streaming at night too is because that's when all the cool people are awake. That's when all the people on the other side of the world, all you nerds are awake. There's just better vibes when it's later at night, because you do it during the day and it's like all the Ameriburger nerds, those fucking snot-nosed diaper shitting nerds, right? Too true. I'm obviously joking if it wasn't obvious, by the way. I think I just need to say that, but yeah. Hello, oddballer. Alright, so thinking about videos to do. So today, technically, I was gonna say tomorrow, but technically it's today now because it's 4 a.m. Um, my new recording equipment's gonna come in. I bought some lights to actually have proper lighting in my videos, and then I actually bought a backdrop and stuff, so it'll improve the quality of the videos. And So I'm actually going to be recording a video talking about the flock cameras and how they are verifiably, provably not ALPRs. Flock cameras are not license plate readers. They just aren't. The news media and so many people, even the like have I been flocked.com website or whatever, those people even call them ALPRs. They're not ALPRs. Um, so I plan to make a whole video. I've just been compiling a ton of evidence, so I'm gonna be making just a whole video delving into flock cameras and how they are not ALPRs. And then also I was talking about how I'd like to do a video talking about my thoughts on the cybersecurity community, and if you guys want me to, I mean, would you guys be interested in that? Just kind of a video of me yapping about, again, my take on the cybersecurity community and the state of that whole industry and stuff, and why I actually hate most of the cybersecurity community. I don't like them at all. Um, I love watching stream for all sorts of stuff, but I can't because most people I see stream at like 4 a.m. for me. Yeah, not this guy because I'm way too much of a somnophobe to stream at normal times. Yes, we got one yes from Nito. Thank you, Nito. Oh yeah, if you guys would like to see me yap about that, I can yap about that too. I have not made a video about AI because it is such a saturated, overly done. I am so tired of seeing every single YouTuber and their grandmother talking about AI. So if you guys insist on wanting to see like me make a AI video giving my take on all that shit or whatever, I can. But I honestly even feel like it's going to be a pretty boring video too, because I'm just going to give the most like cold room temperature fucking take ever that like is just the most like, yeah, we know. At least that's the way I see it. Yes, get good research first, of course. I have plenty. Trust me, I have been compiling shit for like months now, for the documentary, of course, but also, a big part of the documentary is also going to be talking about like verifying how flock cameras are not ALPRs. That's going to be a big part of the documentary, is talking about and showcasing they're not ALPRs, and then talking about how that the implications of them not being ALPRs, legally speaking, and in terms of like what they've been stating publicly, and even talking to the people they've been getting the contracts with, like the HOAs and the police and stuff, talking about how that's kind of they really are trying to rely on people considering them ALPRs, because if they're not ALPRs, then that like really changes a lot of things and stuff. Uh, and it's going to be one of kind of the big chunks of the documentary, among others. We're going to talk about all the other stuff too, of course. The plan is kind of that whole week-long thing I was talking about, where me and the cameraman are just going to go like a whole week dedicating to the documentary. The plan is to plan like just a long road trip. We're just going to go all around Texas. That's the plan. We're just going to basically just, because the whole point of the documentary is I'm not going to be able to do like a whole nationwide thing. So the documentary is going to particularly focus, it's going to talk about the whole broader nationwide stuff too, but a big focus of it is going to be specifically on just all of Texas. I want the documentary to, like, where it's grounded in, at least to be just Texas. So I'm going to be just traveling all around Texas, recording the flock cameras, showcasing the different situation, talking to the locals and stuff, and talking to people, right? All that. I think it'll be pretty cool. God damn. God damn it. Maybe you could talk about the useful sides of AI, like learning and finding bugs. Of course, this is just an idea. Yeah, see, I've also debated making video talking about that too. But then what's going to happen, which already happens anytime I talk about, hey guys, Maybe Linux isn't the number one greatest operating system for every single person. Maybe Windows actually has like places where it's actually good. And then people just call me like a corporate shill or whatever paid for by Microsoft, and I'm just whatever the hell, right? Like, I feel like the second I'm going to be talking about like, hey guys, maybe AI actually has some uses where it is like decent. You just shouldn't rely on it for everything. It's just a tool among a tool set, right? You still need a competent developer using it, not having it do everything for you. And I feel like I could make a video saying that, and people are going to go, wow, this guy's just an AI shill or whatever, right? Like, I don't feel like that's just a lose-lose situation. Keep safe, folks. Flock, etc. Cameras can see infrared, so masks don't help. Yeah, you see, even if they didn't have infrared, hypothetically, let's say flock cameras didn't have infrared, you know what they still have? A giant network of cameras everywhere that they have the. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the whole competitor service where it's like they actually track and trace the Bluetooth signals of your devices on you to track where you are. Um, but Flock specifically, they the whole kind of big selling point of their cameras is that they're able to look at a picture of a vehicle or a person or whatever and go blue jacket, white, white male, you know, roughly weighs this much, is around this height, and like detail every single little specific detail. His white, he had a black hat on with a whatever, you know what I mean? Like they can, the cameras, that's kind of their whole point. So, yeah, of course masks don't help. No shit. they, 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 they still detect everything else. Traceability, stickers on cars, yeah, exactly. Like bumper stickers and even dents in your bumper, like dents in your specific stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, we know. I don't think having infrared is really what's making that suck. You know. Chat, I'm fucking fading. I am fading right now. I am in a whole nother dimension right now. What do you think about Israel merging with the U.S.? I think that that's not happening, unless if it is. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. Um, I feel like that's probably a very broad overgeneralization of something that's actually a lot more nuanced. Like when you say Israel's merging with the U.S., is it becoming the 51st state, or is it like what do you mean? I saw something about like the Israel and U.S. military, like they signed that treaty or contract or whatever it was, where like they're basically pooling their intelligence resources together and like kind of combining the efforts of their military resources or whatever. Is that what you're talking about? Because that's not Israel merging with the U.S. necessarily. That And the answer is I have no idea because honestly I haven't been paying much attention to that shit. Man, I've been sitting here writing a stupid fucking spec for endpoint and man, I'm on a whole nother dimension. I am sitting in my dumpster just toiling away at like Raven bullshit. And like I watch YouTube about nerdy tech shit. Right? I really haven't been paying too much attention to the state of things politically as of recent. Honestly, I used to keep a pretty good finger on the pulse of that stuff, but as of recent, I really haven't been paying much attention to that stuff, so really I wouldn't be able to tell you. If you wear a disguise with padding, you have to have a starting point where the cameras don't see. A disguise with padding? What? What? Uh, well, I hope you have good dreams about successful documentaries and alternate internets. Well, thank you, Bird Loopers. I appreciate that. You know, honestly, that would not be great. Having dreams about my work, which does happen, by the way. I don't think I've really. I never really have dreams. I don't know how weird that is to say. I remember one guy I mentioned this to, and he was like, actually, you do have more dreams, but it's just that you don't remember any of them, whatever." And I was like, "Okay, man." But to my knowledge, I don't have really have dreams that kind of just lay there and it's just black, and then I just fall asleep and then I wake up. Like I don't really have like when I do have dreams though is when I'm really tired, like I'm talking like exhausted or I'm like really sick. If I'm really tired and I like crash and sleep for like 12 hours, I have dreams and I have really weird dreams. When I dream like that, I have weird dreams. They're always so weird. Um, but or when I'm like really sick. But when I'm just regularly sleeping, I don't really have dreams much. Like occasionally I'll wake up and I'll like I had a dream or whatever. But like it's really not very common. But anyways, about having good dreams about successful documentaries and alternate internets, um, I have had dreams before where I was working in my dream and I woke up. Like that has happened before, and there's nothing good about that because last thing I want to do when I'm sleeping and I'm supposed to be relaxing is thinking about work and then waking up with my shoulders tensed. Like, yeah, no, the last thing I want to be thinking about when I'm trying to relax like that is work. So, you know, I do appreciate it though, regardless. Yeah. Favorite Family Guy moment. I don't watch Family Guy. Don't watch Family Guy. Don't watch South Park. Don't watch American Dad. I don't watch. Yep. I don't watch shows like that. I barely watch shows. Period. My most favorite show of all time got canceled for more seasons of Big Mouth. So, thanks Amazon. Yeah. Well, what a amazing decision from them to can one of the greatest shows they ever had for more fucking Big Mouth. Jesus Christ. No, I mean the success, not the work. You see, that's the funny part, Bird Lopers. What success? What? When does it ever end? When is there ever a stopping point? You're adorable. You're cute. Right. No, 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 no. You see, that's not how that works. There's always work to be done. If you dream about work, it's like you're working while you sleep. No, I mean, yes, it's like you're working while you're asleep, but then you wake up and all the work that I just did in my dream wasn't real. So I just spent all this time in my dream doing work, and then I wake up and I never did any of that work. Which, by the way, literally happened, and I remember waking up being grumpy and upset about it because I literally, like, did some really amazing work in my dream, and then I woke up and none of that actually happened, and I was like, man, fuck. Once had a dream to fix a solution for one of my apps and it actually worked. I have also had that happen. I had a dream where I thought about something in the dream and I was like, oh shit, wait a second. And then I woke up and I was like, wait, that actually fuck. And I like came over to my computer, turned my shit on and actually like, did it. And then like actually like that was the solution. That has happened to me too before. If you work while asleep, it's like you're training. Like you're doing test problems before you wake up. Not really. No, not necessarily. Because when you're in a dream, logic doesn't really make much sense. So you're like doing work and solving problems, but not like real problems. I don't really know how to explain that. Like in dreams, the problems you're solving are like it's like the loopy dimension, you know? I'm not solving like real actual problems of the real world project. I'm like dreams always have weird scenarios, like I'm solving some weird problem about the project that like isn't actually real. Some shit like that, right? Once in my dream, I was in a car. I was a car in a dune going to a friend's place filled with traps. What a dream. What a dream, man. How did we even get to this topic? Now I'm trying to think about that. How the fuck did we even get here? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't like dreaming very much. Dreams aren't very fun. You know, I've now that I think about it actually, I've never really had like a nightmare, I guess. Um I've had freaky dreams, don't get me wrong. I've had some really freaky dreams. I guess those are nightmares, but like I've never had like cuz when I think of a nightmare, I think of something like scary where I like wake up in a cold sweat from it or whatever. Or some shit like that, right? I've never really had a dream like that. I've woken up in a cold sweat before from a dream, but it wasn't like anything scary or whatever, I guess. Um, I mean, does it have to, I guess, be scary to be a nightmare? I don't know. I mean, I guess no, probably not. If it's a, I mean, obviously I've had bad dreams before, but I would only ever call them bad dreams. I wouldn't call them nightmares. Oh, hey, something else cool. Um, Maybe you guys will get to meet him someday because he's kind of in like a probationary period, I want to say, where we're not really like giving him any public attention or anything yet. But after he's kind of stuck around for a while and proven himself, we'll start to maybe let him, kind of have more of a public presence with Raven or whatever. But a guy reached out to me a while ago and was like, hey, you know, I don't care. I'm not interested in like making money off of this or whatever, but I'm like someone I'm trying to learn. You know what I mean? I want to be kind of like if there's like an intern type of sort of situation or whatever, like where I can go in and kind of just learn and like do things to help out and also like learn along the way and stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure. I reached back out and I was like, hey, yeah, why not? So we have like an intern in Raven now, essentially a protege. He just kind of brought him in, and he just kind of has been starting to help out with some just smaller stuff. You know what I mean? Just I've just been trying to help teach him some stuff or whatever, showcase, explain some stuff to him or whatever. So that's cool. Again, maybe he'll make an appearance someday and Raven stuff or whatever. Who knows? But he's just tagging along. He has free time. He wants to learn, right? So, and we could obviously use a hand with a couple of things. So we're just like, yeah, sure. If you want to, help get some stuff done, why not? So there's only like a couple of people in Raven. Yeah, yeah. Raven's very small. Raven's a fairly small thing. Me, Pharaoh is the co-founder of Raven, who left Raven, but still, even though he like left Raven in an official capacity, he still helps out with a ton of shit pretty often. So I'll still count him anyways, even though officially speaking, he's not a member of Raven anymore. We have Oku, who pretty much exclusively he just runs Raven Search. He just kind of keeps the server running and just maintains Raven Search. It's kind of all he does. But we have Oku there, who just assists, runs that. And then we have Pascal, who's the lead developer of all the alternate project. He's really spearheading the alternate project, and I'm kind of the project lead, the project manager of the project. And then this unpaid intern guy basically just tagging along. And Mead, if you count Mead. Mead is our community manager. He's the guy who runs the Raven Discord server. Although technically we haven't really ever considered him like a full-on official Raven member, so to speak, but he basically is. He is the community manager. He runs the Discord. So I feel like some people think that I run the Discord. I don't. He runs the Discord. I just make announcements and stuff, and I yap in there a lot. But he actually like keeps the he sails the ship there, so I don't have to. Oh yeah, and then there's Jemin, who's again, I wouldn't really consider him a Raven member per se, but he's a moderator for the Discord server.
Yep.
So, a couple of people. The only people who are really like officially Raven members or whatever is Pascal and Oku. Wait, is the Discord public? Have you not known this, dude? Yeah, there's the Raven Community Discord server, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's public. Where have you been, man? I yap in there a lot, dude. I'm in there pretty often. I'm pretty active in there. You've missed some holy yap sessions. How can I join? Yeah, I can just send away. There you go. It's on the Raven website. If you scroll to the bottom, it's in the footer. And it's also in the description of almost all of my YouTube videos. Yeah, if you want to hop in, man. There you go. You can yap with the community and also yap with me, because I'm, again, pretty active in there, just yapping about shit, so. Oftentimes, while I'm, like, getting work done and actually doing stuff, I'll also have Discord kind of just opened on the second monitor, kind of off to the side, and I'll just kind of be lurking. Sometimes I'll butt into conversations. No problem, man. Jesus motherfucking Christ, I am tired. Fuck. Yep, I see you just now joined. Welcome into the server, my dude. Yeah, if you want, there's also like no Jesus Christ. I'm dehydrated, so voice is cracking more, but there's notification rules in the Discord, so you can get updated about like software updates and also community things or whatever. Then there's also like the newsroom channel or whatever, where you get, if you have the roles for it, you get notified whenever we post like a new newsroom post. Which, by the way, if you guys don't know, newsroom is like our main way, Raven's main way of like communicating new changes or new releases, or you know what's going on with Raven and stuff. That's all through newsroom now. And So if you want to get like notified whenever we post new newsroom stuff, you can either hook it up into your RSS reader if you have one of those, or you can, just get a role in the Discord server, and you'll get pinged whenever new newsroom post goes up. We're trying to get email notifications built in, where people can just subscribe to newsroom and then get like sent automated emails anytime we post something new, but that's unfortunately a lot more complex to do, so we haven't been doing that yet. It is just very complex to do that. Most likely we would need to probably go through like AWS for that, and then we would need to configure everything, and email is a fuckfest. That's all you guys need to know. Email is hell. Obviously you can't just send out emails like from just a regular ass email address, because it gets quickly automated as and flagged as spam and stuff, and there's reputation and everything, which let's just start getting all of our shit sent to the spam boxes and stuff. We can't do it that way. Gotta love centralization of decentralized technologies. Centralization bad, boo. I have like 10 emails, yeah, same. I have way too many emails. Technically, I have one email per service, but okay, take care, mate. I gotta do some work on my VM. Thanks for the stream I was lucky enough to catch, and thanks for all your hard work. Well, thank you, Bird Lopers, for tuning in, man. Happy to have you around. Honestly, boys, I think I'm gonna call it here as well, because I am like I am seeing shit that ain't even here type of thing. I'm joking. I'm not actually, but like I am just tired. Good luck, brother. Have a good night. You too, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yep. Thank you guys for sitting through my late night ramblings and yap sesh. Promise you there's more where that came from. New video should be up later today, so maybe it's time to sleep. Yeah, probably. Alright, take care.